Hey there, it's Brittany Chavers, and I'm back with Jesse James Beads today to give you some fun and easy ideas and help you design with the Lavender Fields Color Trends Bead Mix. So pretty, love all the purple. Let's jump in. We're going to make 3 easy earring designs today. On this first pair of earrings, we're going to use this little crystal briolette, some 24 gauge wire, and I'm going to slide that on and move the briolette to the middle of the wire. We'll line up our pieces. And then we'll take this cute little butterfly crystal and slide both pieces of wire through the crystal. And slide that butterfly down to our briolette. Then we'll take a tiny crystal rondelle spacer, slide it onto both pieces of wire, and this pearlized purple crystal. And then we are going to wire wrap a loop with both of these wires together. So we'll bend back over the plier mandrel, reposition those pliers, and then we'll bend forward. Reposition, and then we'll pull that to the back to create a loop. Then we're just going to wire wrap both wires down towards our crystal in a messy wrap, repositioning the beads as needed. And don't we have a cute little, I think it looks like a little fairy or a little butterfly person. We're going to go ahead and trim. And then slide that charm onto an ear wire. This is a 5-minute pair of earrings, but they make a big impact with all that crystal. Super shiny and sparkly. There we go. There's our first pair. So cute. In our next pair, we're going to take this triangle tassel and a crackle glass bead, a small rondelle, and another crystal rondelle spacer. I'm going to use some 22 gauge wire from Beadalon. This is German style wire, and some 24 gauge. Starting with the 22 gauge, I'm going to do a wire wrapped loop. But before I complete the loop, I'm going to go ahead and slip that onto my little triangle tassel. Then I am going to wire wrap that closed. Next, I'll trim that tail on the wire. Then we're going to slide on the sparkly glass crackle bead and do a wire wrap loop at the top. Once I complete that loop, I am going to wrap it a couple times, and then I am going to move that wire around the bead and down to my original wire wrapped loop and secure it again around that loop a couple times. And then that leaves a really cool piece of gold wire around the front in a diagonal. We're going to go ahead and trim. And then I'm going to take the 24 gauge wire and do another wire wrapped loop. You could do 22 gauge here if you'd like, but the 24 gauge was a little more delicate. And then I'm going to, before I close the loop, slide it onto my crackle bead connector that I made and wire wrap that closed. Go ahead and trim. And then we're going to slide on the crystal rondelle spacer. And then the purple crystal. Do another wire wrapped loop at the top. And then we have a really cute boho earring. After we slip it onto this ear wire. There we go. Cute little boho tassel pair of earrings. Another 5-minute pair. And then for the last pair, we're going to use some chain reaction. This is the number 34 strand. And I'm going to use 2 of these little filigree connectors in this chain. That's a fun way to use some of your chain reaction. You don't have to use it as chain. You can use it as connectors. Or you can take the beads and cut it apart. It's really versatile. Just cutting on these tiny jump rings to liberate the filigrees. And then I have this little porcelain bead and another one of those crystal briolets and my 24 gauge wire. I am going to cut a length of the 24 gauge wire and slip it through the briolet like we did on the first earring. Although we're going to do a wire wrapped loop this time, right on top of the briolet, after bringing both those wires together. And I bend backwards, reposition the pliers, bend forwards, reposition again, and then bring that those 2 wires around as a loop. Before we close it, I'm going to slide both of the wires through one end of this connector and click it in place. And then we'll go ahead and wire wrap that closed. I'm not just wire wrapping here, I am actually wire wrapping down the existing wire, and then we're going to go over the top part of that crystal and wire wrap down the crystal. Just take your time. We want it to look somewhat even, although it is still kind of a messy wrap. The slower you go, the more precision you'll have. And I'm just going to go a little bit down over that crystal just to cover the hole where the wire's coming out of. And then I'm going to trim in the back. And there we go. You can put that right on an ear wire and it'd be a tiny dainty earring, but I'm going to take some more 22 gauge wire and wire wrap a loop after connecting it to that connector. Give it a trim. And then we are going to add our porcelain bead and then wire wrap the top closed. I'm just going to go ahead and wire wrap that a little bit after we click in the final piece, the final connector from the chain reaction. Go ahead and wire wrap that closed. And then we'll add an ear wire. Make sure to twist those open instead of pull. Slide that on and then twist it closed. And here we have the daintiest, cutest pair of earrings with a little bit of sparkle. So today we made 3 earrings. We made a dainty porcelain pair, a sparkly boho pair, and the sparkly fairy person pair or butterfly person pair. Thank you so much to Jessie James Beads for having me back. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.